This video is worth 100,000 miles. The techniques employed by several seasoned drivers to handle emergencies on the highway are truly worth learning from. Let's quickly recap the incident. A broken-down car was stalled in the left fast lane, with its warning triangle placed less than 20 feet behind it, and the driver failed to evacuate promptly. This set the stage for trouble, but the real troublemaker was the white car at the front. Despite a clear road ahead, the white car was inching along slowly, causing a backlog of vehicles behind and nearly triggering a chain reaction. Such reckless rubbernecking deserves serious consequences, but thankfully, the quick thinking of 3 seasoned drivers on the scene prevented things from spiraling out of control. First, take a look at the white Lynk & Co. car. As the video car approached, the Lynk & Co. quickly veered to the left, a move that proved to be critical. At the time, the video car was attempting to change lanes right next to it, with a large truck positioned just behind and to the right. If the Lynk & Co. had not yielded, the video car might not have dared to make the move. Had the video car failed to escape, it could have easily rear-ended the Lynk & Co. or even triggered a chain reaction. In reality, the Lynk & Co. had already come to a stop, and there were 3 people standing on the highway to its left. Its shift to the left was clearly not intended for its own lane change, but rather to create space for the video car. This action reflects an essential risk avoidance mindset. When unable to escape from an accident scene, giving others a chance to get away can still help prevent a larger disaster. Next, take a closer look at the right side van. It was the first vehicle on the scene to activate its brake lights. By the time the video car passed, its speed had already dropped significantly. This timely concession was instrumental in clearing the situation. At that moment, there was an accident on the fast lane and a slow-moving car in the second lane. If the van had not yielded space in the third lane, a chain reaction of rear-end collisions would have been inevitable. This kind-hearted and experienced driver truly deserves our respect. Now let's turn to the far-right van. Unlike the van mentioned earlier, it did not slow down but instead pressed the accelerator. A closer observation reveals that as it navigated through the incident zone, half of its body had already moved into the emergency lane. Clearly, it recognized the crisis and made a calculated decision to yield by moving into the emergency lane. Its decision not to slow down may seem counterintuitive, but it reflects a deeper understanding of risk avoidance. In emergencies, it's crucial to quickly create space around your vehicle rather than relying solely on braking. By avoiding a parallel position with the van in the third lane, it ensured that the escape route for vehicles behind remained clear. In summary, we witnessed 3 exceptional drivers. The Lynk & Co. prioritized the safety of the video car by yielding early. The van in the third lane slowed down promptly to create space, and the van in the fourth lane skillfully maneuvered to avoid blocking the escape route. Their foresight and quick thinking saved the day and prevented what could have been a major highway disaster. As for the video car, its success is not easily replicable. Drivers should always slow down as soon as they notice brake lights on a large vehicle, especially when the vehicle activates its hazard lights. Remember, if a large truck is signaling or braking, there's likely a problem ahead. Never attempt to overtake a large vehicle that is slowing down. It's a critical rule for staying safe on the highway. This Audi is a serious problem. First, its speed is unusually slow, even though the road ahead is completely clear. Driving this slowly suggests either distracted driving or something more deliberate. Either way, we need to stay alert. Next, as the video car attempted to overtake, the Audi suddenly sped up. There's no question about it. If a vehicle on the right accelerates while you're trying to overtake, it's highly likely that the driver is being hostile. In such situations, it's crucial to abort the overtaking maneuver. Unfortunately, the video car lacked experience and decided to overtake anyway, only to collide with a bicycle on the left. Most of you have probably already spotted the pattern. This is a classic scam setup. The slow-moving car forces the rear car to overtake, while the oncoming car creates the perfect opportunity for a collision. As long as the rear car gives in to the temptation to overtake, it plays right into their hands. So, how can we avoid falling victim to scams like this? Here are 4 key tips to keep in mind. Be wary of slow-moving cars. Scammers often spend time waiting for the perfect target, so their speed is usually very slow. Watch out for vehicles intentionally creating trouble. For example, they may speed up when you signal, accelerate when you try to overtake, or block you when you're reversing. Practice defensive driving and yielding. Cars that are good at yielding can better protect their right-of-way and have more room to maneuver. Be cautious during low-priority maneuvers. Operations like starting, turning around, reversing, changing lanes, and overtaking have less priority in terms of right-of-way and are often targeted by scammers. During these maneuvers, always remember to wait, observe, and confirm. At this point, the video car had already crossed the center line and was closely following the vehicle ahead, clearly signaling its intention to overtake. However, it did not immediately make the move. It's worth noting that a sharp curve lay just ahead. On the other side of the curve, another large truck was steadily approaching from the opposite direction. Despite this, the video car ultimately decided to proceed with the overtaking attempt. However, just as it crossed the center line, the truck ahead activated its brake lights. This is a highly ambiguous signal. When overtaking, if the vehicle in front slows down, it could either be yielding or signaling an emergency ahead. In areas with poor visibility, especially when a large vehicle is slowing down, it's best to avoid overtaking altogether. Unfortunately, the video car failed to recognize this warning and continued its attempt. Suddenly, the truck turned on its left turn signal. At this point, there was no road shoulder or obstacle on the left side of the truck, and the road ahead curved to the right. Why then did the truck activate its left turn signal? Let's continue watching. It turns out that another large truck was approaching from the opposite direction. That explains it. The truck's turn signal was warning the video car not to overtake and also signaling the oncoming semi-trailer to slow down. This small but clever use of the turn signal illuminated the blind spot of the curve, giving both the video car and the oncoming truck more time to react. It's safe to say that this ingenious use of the truck's lights is something we can all learn from. This story also serves as an important reminder for all drivers. If you see a vehicle beside you activate its left turn signal, you should immediately abandon the idea of overtaking. If an oncoming vehicle activates its left turn signal, simply slow down and proceed with caution. Never take it lightly. The video car's performance in this incident is nothing short of remarkable, with reaction times that are truly impressive. From the footage, it's clear that the truck passed perilously close to the video car, a situation that was extremely dangerous. Even a slight delay of just a fraction of a second in the video car's reaction could have made the collision unavoidable. So, how did the video car manage to escape without a scratch? There are several key points worth analyzing. First, before the truck even came into view, the video car had already activated its hazard lights. Some might question the purpose of this seemingly unnecessary action, but in reality, it was the driver signaling to oncoming vehicles, warning them of the situation ahead and prompting them to slow down. This good driving habit undoubtedly gave the video car valuable reaction time. Next, let's examine the video car's driving trajectory. At the start of the video, the car was driving in the center of the lane, but as it approached the curve, the driver proactively moved to the right. This small adjustment may seem routine, but it reflects a great deal of foresight. Imagine if the video car had not moved to the right in advance. During the subsequent reversing process, it would have needed to reverse while simultaneously adjusting to the right, a move that would have significantly increased the risk of an accident due to improper handling or panic. Finally, we must highlight the decisiveness of the video car's entire operation. From the quick stop to the smooth shift into reverse, everything was executed flawlessly. This not only requires advanced driving skills, but also a calm and composed mindset. These details clearly demonstrate that throughout the process, the video car driver effectively communicated with the oncoming vehicle, anticipated the situation in advance, and consistently adhered to the principle of yielding. If the driver had been frustrated or impulsive, it would have been impossible to complete the reversing maneuver so quickly and calmly. In conclusion, the video car's ability to safely navigate this situation was a result of its ability to communicate, anticipate potential hazards, and yield to others. This case highlights the nighttime passing techniques used by the video car, which are highly worth learning from. However, in real life, some people may question such an outcome. The truck was clearly at fault for its illegal driving, nearly causing a major accident. So why should we yield to a car that was driving normally? This question actually involves multiple layers of consideration. First, from the perspective of respecting life, The definition of responsibility sometimes becomes secondary when lives are at stake. Trucks inherently carry a high level of danger, and a collision can lead to catastrophic consequences. Yielding to a truck is not just an act of deference, it is a fundamental way to protect our own lives. This is the essence of respecting life. Second, from the perspective of understanding others, overtaking on a nighttime road can be particularly challenging for the rear driver, who may struggle to see the road ahead clearly, especially around curves. In such situations, the front car's decision to yield is not just an act of tolerance or understanding. It is also a way to enhance its ability to handle emergencies. This kind of thoughtful behavior allows us to better ensure the safety of both ourselves and others in complex and unpredictable traffic environments. Finally, from the perspective of gentlemanly conduct, being able to skillfully resolve surrounding traffic issues with one's driving skills is a source of pride. When we positively influence others and promote correct driving principles, it is not only our responsibility as experienced drivers, but also the very purpose of our presence on the road. After all, civilized driving and yielding create safer and more harmonious roads for everyone. This is an exceptionally dangerous stretch of road. With fewer vehicles on the road, some drivers are prone to speeding, and this section features a sharp curve. Adding to the danger, 2 trucks are temporarily parked here, further expanding the blind spots in the area. Experienced drivers typically slow down significantly when approaching such sections to ensure safe driving. However, tragedy struck. Suddenly, a blur flashed by. A motorcycle was speeding toward the area. Judging from the scene, the motorcycle may have swerved onto the opposite lane to avoid a pedestrian, only to collide violently with the truck. So, does the pedestrian who crossed the road bear any responsibility? Let's carefully analyze the motorcycle's trajectory. Why did the motorcycle crash directly into the truck? Clearly, the rider had already lost control of the motorcycle's direction. As we know, the tighter the curve, the greater the centrifugal force acting on the vehicle. If the motorcycle struggled to maintain control after taking a wide turn, would it have had a better chance of safely navigating the curve by staying in its own lane and taking a tighter turn? The answer is likely no. It seems that avoiding the pedestrian may have been just a surface-level factor, while the motorcycle's excessive speed was the direct cause of the accident. Now, let's consider the truck's role. Could it have avoided the accident? Notice that the truck had already moved to the right side of the road before the collision. Under normal circumstances, it would not have been able to see the motorcycle. Additionally, the truck proactively yielded space for oncoming vehicles and was traveling at a speed of about 30 kilometers per hour or less through the curve. Typically, the speed limit for such curves ranges from 30 to 50 kilometers per hour. At the moment of impact, the truck had almost come to a complete stop. Considering these factors, the truck had already acted with considerable caution. However, some may wonder why the truck did not steer slightly to the left. This brings us to the situation on the left side of the road. At the time, a pedestrian was standing on the left, and debris from the collision may have hit him. Moreover, if the motorcycle had been knocked back toward the pedestrian after the impact, the consequences could have been catastrophic. Therefore, the truck simply did not have the space or conditions to steer further to the left. Interestingly, the truck did make a noticeable leftward movement at the last moment. Why? It turns out that the pedestrian, who had been watching the truck, began to move as the motorcycle approached. In other words, the truck's leftward movement almost synchronized with the pedestrian's motion. This reveals that the truck was not unwilling to yield, but was constrained by multiple factors. It had to deal with the speeding motorcycle, while also being cautious of the bystander nearby. At this point, we may understand why the truck had been honking earlier. The driver was likely warning the stranger to move away. Although the truck ultimately could not prevent the accident, it had done its best to minimize the damage. The truck's early positioning to the right, slow speed through the curve, timely braking, and careful consideration during the avoidance maneuver are all practices worth learning from as drivers.